Hey guys, Mr. Burns here with your video for lesson 6.5T, the volume with fractional dimensions. In this lesson, or at the end of this lesson, I want you guys to be able to find the volume of a rectangular prism with fractional side lengths. That you'll remember that the volume of an object is its capacity, or how much it holds on the inside. Okay? The volume of a rectangular prism is found using the formula volume equals the length times the width times the height. Also during this video, I'll be reviewing how to multiply fractions to each other and how to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions and how to change possibly whole numbers into fractions as well. But it's going to be a real quick review and a real quick lesson. Okay, your instructions for numbers 1 through 10. It says use the formula volume equals length times width times height to find the volume of a rectangular prism. So let me expand this a little bit and we'll get started on it. Okay, for number 1, the length is equal to 2/3 inches, the width is equal to 1/6 of an inch, and the height is equal to 3/4 of an inch. For part A, it says substitute each value into the formula. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got 2/3 times 1/6 times 3/4. Now, for part B, it says cross simplify any numerators and denominators. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's grab the first two fractions, 2/3 times 1/6, and cross simplify if we can. So what's the greatest common factor of 2 and 6? The greatest common factor of 2 and 6 is 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So let's go ahead and rewrite that. So rewrite it over here off to the right. So I've got 1/3 times 1/3. Okay, times 3/4. Oops. Now, let's go ahead and simplify or cross-simplify the next two fractions if we can. So we'll leave 1/3 alone, the first 1/3 alone, times. Now 1 and 4, what's the greatest common factor of 1 and 4? The greatest common factor is 1 and 4, so I don't have to, I can't reduce anything. So what about 3 and 3? What's the greatest common factor of 3 and 3? Well, that would be 3. So 3 will go into 3 one time, 3 will go into 3 one time. So it's going to rewrite our new multiplication problem. So it's going to be 1/3 times 1 over 1 times 1 over 4. And then for part C, it says solve using the simplified fractions. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got 1/3 times 1 over 1 times 1 over 4. All right. Let's take a look at part D. And then finally for part D, we just multiply straight across. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And then 3 times 1 is 3, and then 3 times 4 is 12. So our answer is the volume is 1/12 cubic inches. All right, pretty simple enough. Let's take a look at number 2. So for number 2, we've got a rectangular prism with the dimensions of length of 1/2, a width of 4/5, and a height of 1/4. So let's go ahead and write this down. So the volume is equal to the length times the width times the height. Let's go and plug in our values. So we've got 1/2 times 4/5 times 1/4. I'm going to do this problem without cross-canceling anything. So I'm just going to multiply straight across. And you'll see the benefits of cross-canceling versus multiplying straight across. It can be done either way. It just depends on you and your comfort level. So here we go. To multiply fractions, you just multiply straight across. So 1 times 4 is 4. And 4 times 1 is 4. 2 times 2, sorry about that. 2 times 5 is 10. And 10 times 4 is 40. Okay, and then you have to reduce this fraction if you can. What's the greatest common factor of 4 and 40? In other words, what's the biggest number that will divide 4 and 40 evenly? That is the number 4. So 4 divided by 4 and 10 divided by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 40 divided by 4 is 10. And then what's my unit of measurement? My unit of measurement is meters cubed. And that's it. That's the volume of that rectangular prism. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. Okay, so here we are, number 3. Number 3, pretty simple. Find the volume, right? So let's go ahead and write down the formula for the volume of a rectangular prism. volume equals the length times the width times the height. The length in this case is, they call it how wide it is. I don't know why, but we'll go ahead and write it down like that. So we've got 5/6 times 3, which is the width, times the height, which is 3/5. From here, we're going to go and change our whole number into a fraction. And how do you change a whole number into a fraction? You put a 1 underneath it. So let's go ahead and rewrite it. So we've got 5/6 times 3 over 1 times 3 over 5. I'm going to go ahead and cross cancel if I can. I'm going to take the first two fractions and cross cancel if I can. What's the greatest common factor of 5 and 1? 1, so there's nothing you can do. What's the greatest common factor of 6 and 3? That's 3. So I'm going to rewrite it up here. So leave the 5 alone. How many times will 3 go into 6? 3 will go into 6 2 times. How many times will 3 go into 3? 1 time. So it's times 1 over 1 times 3/5. Now, let's take the first fraction, and since multiplication is commutative, that means I can find the greatest common factor of 5/2 and 3/5. In other words, I can maneuver the numbers around so they're right next to each other without changing the end product. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got 5/2 times 3/5 times 1 over 1. Now let's go ahead and find the greatest common. Let's go ahead and cross cancel. Sorry, let's cross cancel with 5/2 and 3/5. So what's the greatest common factor of 5 and 5? Well, that's 5. So 5 will go into 5 one time. 5 will go into 5 one time. 2 and 3. What's the greatest common factor of 2 and 3? 1. So you can't reduce it. You're done. So let's go ahead and rewrite this multiplication problem with our new reduced fractions. So we've got 1/2 times 3 over 1 times 1 over 1. Multiply those straight across. So 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 3/2 is a mixed number. So let's go ahead and reduce that into an improper fraction. Let me move this over just a touch so I have some room to write. How many times will 2 go into 3? 2 will go into 3 one whole time. What's my remainder? My remainder is 1, and then the denominator stays the same. So my final answer is 1 and 1/2, move this over just a touch, is 1 and 1/2 feet cubed. And that's it. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Alrighty, let's take a look at let's go jump to the backside. Okay, here we are, number 4. Same instructions as before. Find the volume and then simplify. So for number 4, it says the length is equal to 5 centimeters, the width is 2 2/5 centimeters, and the height is 1 1/3 centimeters. Part A says rewrite all mixed numbers or whole numbers as improper fractions. So here we go. 5 rewritten as an improper fraction is the same as 5 over 1. To change a mixed number into an improper fraction, there is a bit of a process to go through. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take the denominator, 5, and we're going to multiply it times 2, which is 10. Then we'll add the numerator, which is 12, so it's 12 over 5. Same thing with 1 1/3. We're going to change that mixed number into an improper fraction. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go 3 times 1, which is 3, and then 3 plus 1, which is 4, so it's 4/3. And then it says, for part B, it says substitute each value in the formula. Volume equals length times width times height. So we've got 5 over 1 times 12/5. Rewrite that a little bit. Times 4/3. For part C, it says cross simplify any numerators and denominators. So let's go ahead and do that if we can. So I'm going to take the first two fractions, 5 over 1 and 12 over 5, and reduce that if I can. Alright, so what's the greatest common factor of 5 and 5? That's 5. So 5 will go into 5 one time, 5 will go into 5 one time. Now let's take the second, our new fractions, and we'll take the next two, 12 over 1 times 4 over 3, and cross cancel there. So can I cross cancel them? Let's see here. 1 and 4, can I cross cancel there? Nope. What's the greatest common factor of 1 and 4? 1, so you can't reduce it. What's the greatest common factor of 3 and 12? The greatest common factor of 3 and 12 is 3. So 3 will go into 3 one time, and 3 will go into 12 4 times. All right? And then let's take a look at part D. Okay, then for part D it says solve using the simplified fractions. So we've got 1 over 1 times 4 over 1 times 4 over 1. Now we just multiply straight across, right? So 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. And then 16 over 1 reduces down to, I don't know, how many times will 1 go into 16? 16 divided by 1 is 16. So 1 will go into 16 16 times. So the volume is 16 cubic meters. Simple enough. Okay, number 5, number 6. Okay, knowing what we know now, let's go ahead and jump on to number 5. So number 5, the volume is going to be equal to the length times the width times the height. Okay, so we've got 1 and 1/2 times 2 and 2/3 times 2 and 1/4. Okay, let's go ahead and convert all of these mixed numbers into improper fractions. So here we go. Make my little pen stylus thing a little thinner. So we got 2 times 1, that's 2. 2 plus 1, that's 3. So now we've got 3 over 2, so 3 halves. 3 will go into, 3 times 2 is 6. And then 6 plus 2 is 8. So we've got 8 over 3. Next mixed number, 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 plus 1 is 9, so now we've got 9/4. Let's go ahead and move on with our cross canceling. Okay, so I'm going to take the first two fractions, 3 halves and 8/3, and cross cancel if I can. So how many times will 3 go into 3? 3 will go into 3 one time. That's the greatest common factor, right? Should have asked you that at the get-go. 2 and 8. What's the greatest common factor of 2 and 8? The greatest common factor is 2. So 2 will go into 2 one time. 2 will go into 8 4 times. Okay, so let's go ahead and rewrite this over here. So now we've got 1 over 1 times 4 over 1 times 9 over 4. Okay, so now we're going to take the second fraction, 4 over 1 and 9/4, and cross reduce if we can there. Okay, cross simplify. So leave the first fraction alone, 1 over 1 times. What's the greatest common factor of 1 and 9? The greatest common factor of 1 and 9 is 1, so we can't do anything with those two numbers. What about 4 and 4? What's the greatest common factor of 4 and 4? Well, 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then 4 divided by 4 is still 1. Let's go ahead and reduce that. So, let's go ahead and rewrite that. So now we've got 1 over 1 times 9 over 1. From here, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We just multiply straight across. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 1, now the denominators, 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 times 1 is 1. And then 9 divided by 1 is 9. So my final answer is 9 feet cubed, since I'm talking volume. Woo-wee! Last one, you guys. Let's check out number 6. Okay, here we go on number 6. Number 6, pretty simple. Find the volume. So start off with what we know. Here's our recipe. The volume equals the length times the width times the height. Let's go ahead and plug in what we know. The length is 4 times the width, which is 2 1/4, times the height, which is 1 1/2. Let's go ahead and convert our mixed numbers or whole numbers into improper fractions. So to make a whole number into an improper fraction, we put a 1 underneath it. So the first fraction is 4 over 1 times. Now we're going to take our mixed number, change it into an improper fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9, so I got 9/4 times. Do the same thing. 2 times 1 is 2. And then 2 plus 1 is 3, so I got 3 over 2. Let's go ahead and cross cancel. So what's the greatest common factor of 4 and 4? The greatest common factor of 4 and 4 is 4. So 4 will go into 4 one time. 4 will go into 4 one time. What about 1 and 9? What's the greatest common factor there? The greatest common factor is 1. So you're done. Can't reduce it. Let's go ahead and rewrite over here. So now we've got 1 over 1 times 9 over 1 times 3 over 2. Now let's take a look at the next two fractions and see if we can cross simplify there. 9 over 1 and 3 halves. Can I cross cancel anything? Let's see. 1 and 3, what's the greatest common factor there? Greatest common factor is 1, so you're done. You can't cross cancel there. What about 9 and 2? Can you cross cancel? Let's see. Greatest common factor of 9 and 2 is 1, so nope, can't do it. So now we just multiply straight across. So 1 times 9 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Over. 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 times 2 is 2. So there you got it. Now, let's go ahead and reduce this improper fraction. So I'm going to get old school with it and start my work over here. So I'm going to take my numerator, 27, divide it by my denominator, 2. How many times will 2 go into 2? 2 will go into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract those, I get 0. Bring down the 7. 2 will go into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract those, I get 1. So that's my remainder. So my final answer is 13 and 1. That's my remainder. And the denominator stays the same, which is 2. And my unit of measurement is centimeters cubed. And that is my final answer, 13 and 1/2 centimeters cubed. There we go. All right, nice job, you guys. Let's get out a piece of paper, pencil, and a calculator. Let's get ready to write down our assignment.